So in first lecture, as all of you are aware, we discuss about learning. So very quickly, I'm just moving before we move to the machine learning and deep learning part. So today I'll be giving the introduction about deep learning, some applications. Okay, but prior to that, what we have already seen and discussed, once more, we are going to see that. So these all are the various famous definitions given by the well-known people. You can see that the first definition of learning, when learning happens, right, you can observe and see changes in your mindset or system. Okay, and you see that a same system or same person, if they have to perform same task, it is expected that efficiency, accuracy, precision is always going to be improved when they are going to perform same task repeatedly over and over again and again. So this is again we expect from machine. Okay, so when we can see that machine has learned, so you can observe changes in the system, application, program, software, whatever you are calling, which runs in the system. And you can see that the task which is carried out by that application system software, it is carried out every time more efficiently if you repeatedly perform and with more precision and accuracy. Learning is constructing or modifying representation of what is being experienced. So you see it is an experiential learning. So based on your experience plus learning, you can modify your presentations. Like the PPT, what you are seeing right now is every year I am changing based on my experience and knowledge, right? So when you reconstruct, when you modify the representation based on your experience, it is also a form of learning. And most important part is what? Learning is making useful changes in our minds. So if we change our mindset, if we adapt, if we learn, if we move forward, forward looking, right? So adapt thought process, your thinking, ability to trigger new ideas, this all you can consider as a part of learning. So this is in general learning, but when we talk about machine learning, then you have to make your system. System means the software application program which runs on that system. So we generally use the word system, but you have to understand we are talking about one specific application or system or software. So we have to make the system capable of autonomous acquisition and integration of knowledge. So you have already past knowledge. So let us consider our IQ, and we modify our IQ every day based on our experience. So we have to integrate the knowledge, what you acquire with the existing knowledge, right? So this is what is your experiential learning. So here you have to acquire new knowledge, but you have to integrate it with the existing knowledge also. So this is nothing but your modification, reconstruction, whatever you are calling. So you have to make machine capable so that they can acquire new knowledge and integrate with the existing one. This is what we have to achieve in this particular subject. Now everybody is following one learning algorithm. So you see that your input processing in your brain is always happening due to one fixed learning algorithm, which is there in your mind. In my mind, I am going to learn according to the algorithm which is fixed. In your mind, you are going to learn based on the algorithm which is fixed in your mind. So everybody is following their own way of learning, right? This is what they want to say. And most of the human intelligence is due to this learning algorithm, which is fixed in your mind, right? And here in this subject, we require to build the learning algorithms for machine that mimic the human brain. So the meaning of this is what? The way we understand, the way we think, the way we behave, we need to construct application systems of software, or we have to build the learning algorithms that actually mimic the human brain. This is what we have to achieve, right? And these all are the types of learning that you are well aware: supervised, unsupervised, combination of both, that is semi-supervised and reinforcement. But here in this subject, as we have discussed, if you are moving from AI to machine learning to deep learning, then your data requirement is always going to be larger. So you have a bigger data, and when you have bigger data, more training time is required, and more training is better, right? So this is what is architecture of learning system. You can see this is environment. We all come from the environment. This is your system part. So here you have a critic, and the critic is always going to give the feedback. Means these are the constructive feedback what we are going to get. Our learning element has to make the changes. Okay, this has to be reflected in the performance. So there is a performance element, and this is going to be reflected through the new knowledge which you acquire. And here you have to check whether the learning goals have been fulfilled or not. And after that, again, this cycle repeats. And the outcome is what? The action what you take. So if I see the action by the system or human, I can easily sense, okay, whether the IQ has been modified or whether the system has learned or adapt or not. In terms of decision making, in terms of new idea generation, whatever. So this is basically a loop. Try to see. These all are the loop, right? So here changes, knowledge, then your learning goal again you have to check, and this problem generator is again going to supply this new knowledge and integrate with the existing knowledge, and this is based on that. Now we have to take the action. Your system has to take the action. It is to be reflected in environment, and based on that you can judge that the system has learned. So your superset is artificial intelligence. So in AI, we have to develop or engineer intelligent machines and program. Okay. So whatever task that we are carrying out, we expect that the machine should also carry out similar kind of task. This is nothing but your branch of computer science that is called artificial intelligence. And the word is artificial because it is not the machine's intelligence. It is the intelligence provided by the human. It is man-made, and that's why the word is artificial. Okay, so here you can see that we have to develop the system that think like a human and act like a human, right? And it should not like rationally as and when required. So basically there is a thought and there is a behavior. So first there is always a thinking, and then you have to reflect this thinking into your behavior, right? So here in AI, we have to develop the system that exactly learn, think, act like a human. Okay. So this is what we have to achieve. So we have to move from thought process to behavioral part. So what is intelligence now? You can see that intelligence is a property or ability attributed to people, such as to know, right? So if you are knowing so many things, then you are called intelligent person. If you have an ability to think, you may be considered as an intelligent person. While talking also, okay, the way you talk, I can judge your intelligence level. Your ability to learn can also lead to the intelligence part, and the way you understand also, if you have a good understanding also, then you are also considered as an intelligent person. So please ensure you have to install everything what we are discussing into a system, into a program, into application, whatever you are developing, right? Then and then the system is going to become intelligent. So intelligence is nothing but whatever your existing knowledge you have, plus whatever you perceive right now, your ability to perceive, feel, comprehend, process, communicate, judge, learn. This you have to always integrate. So this is my existing IQ, this is my new IQ, and I am always integrating this. So in short, you can consider intelligence is nothing but your ability to learn, understand, and think, right? And your AI is a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary field, and it is aiming to develop the techniques and tools for solving the problem which the people are good at or humans are good at. So why the word artificial? As I've said, it is produced by human or human art or effort rather than originally or naturally come from the computer. And intelligence is the ability to acquire knowledge and to use it also. You see that if you are having knowledge, but if you are not going to apply that, then this is not of use. So please make sure that it should be reflected in terms of your talk, in terms of your behavior, in terms of your thinking, right? So it's not only just you are having knowledge is sufficient, but you have to use it to solve some real world problem. So in artificial intelligence, we have to study the ideas that enables computer to become intelligent, right? And it is a part of computer science which is concerned with design of computer system that exactly exhibit human intelligence, right? So basically we have to simulate human brain inside computer. That is nothing but your AI. So artificial intelligence is the field of computer science that is associated with the concepts of machines thinking like human, right? And to make machine think like a human, we have to perform the machine learning, right? So that we can perform the tasks like learning, problem solving, planning, reasoning. Reasoning means you have to explain why you have come up with this solution, and then you can identify the pattern, right? Like this is classification. So right now, if you are sitting in front of computer, monitor, keyboard, mouse, this what you identify, this all are called patterns. So these all are the topics which you have to study when you study AI, right? Like there is a searching algorithm like genetic algorithm and colony optimization, particle sum optimization, then branch and bound, nearest neighbor algorithm, simulated annealing, hill climbing. These all are the search algorithm or searching technique. They will search the best solution for your problem at your hand. Then how to represent knowledge, then reasoning, planning, machine learning. You see, this is our whole subject is a part of AI. It is a subset. Natural language processing, expert system, game playing, robotics, computer vision, speech recognition, robotics, you see, interaction with the environment. So these all are part of AI, right? Even you add the game playing also, which is also part of AI. So here we require huge amount of data. So data may be in pipeline. You must have a knowledge on statistics. So yesterday only I shared a few online free resources for learning the advanced mathematics and statistics. You must have a sound knowledge about the computer science fundamental or foundation courses, first 4 semesters courses, whatever you have studied. You must have a domain expertise. Okay, so domain means what? Healthcare, education, retail, finance, telecommunications. So you must have a domain knowledge also. This is expected. Computer vision means your audio, video, and all other analytics, what we perform on that. And you are going to predict the future, forecast the future, project the future. So it's a predictive analytics. So these all are the areas of AI, right? So as we have discussed, all kind of logic, binary logic, fuzzy logic, monotonic logic, and all that. Natural language processing, okay, speed to text, text to speech, Gujarati to English, English to Gujarati. Then we have a sentiment analysis, recommendation system. This all comes under NLP. Machine learning, all 4 types of learning, okay. Then we have a planning, robotics, you see, game playing, knowledge representation, expert system. So again, AI involves many disciplines, right? So it's interdisciplinary. So you must have a knowledge about the philosophy, mathematics, psychology. You must have a knowledge about computer science or computer engineering, the foundation courses, linguistic, language part. Okay, and plus any problem and the domain of that problem in which you are providing the solution, whether it's education, agriculture, telecommunication, finance, retail, any. So these all are the application. You see, everybody is talking about AI. Today's environment is favorable, and these all are the applications. You can see that, and that's why you can find maximum jobs available in AI, machine learning, data science related subjects or courses. So not a single field is untouched. Okay, everywhere AI is used, everywhere machine learning is used. When I say AI, it's a superset, right? Machine learning, deep learning is a part of that. So when I say AI, machine learning and deep learning is automatically applicable. So whether you talk about defense, social networks or social media, real estate, agriculture, healthcare, online shopping, aerospace, sports, mobile, workspace, and entertainment, hospitality, media, gaming, communication, education, retail, transport, event management, insurance, cybersecurity, smart home, politics, government, banking, personal finance, everywhere you see AI is applicable, AI is used. So whenever you want to make a system automated, which will exactly learn like a human, think like a human, and take the decision exactly like a human, then you should use AI. Now our machine learning, which is a subset of AI, here we have to make machine learn, right? So ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So here programming is going to be less. Once you extract the feature and you provide the data, machine will learn automatically. So machine learning is nothing but you have to make machine capable to learn exactly like a human without doing a lot of coding, right? So this is what is your definition given in your book. So here you can see that any program which learn from experience and they repeatedly perform same task again and again, then it is expected that the performance is always going to be improved and efficiency is always going to be better as you are gaining the experience and performing repeatedly same task over and over again and again. So your program, your system is going to become more efficient, more accurate, more precise as it is gaining an experience. So it is nothing but the subset or application of artificial intelligence that provides system the ability to automatically learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. Right? And in machine learning, we focus on the development of computer programs that can access data and use it to learn from themselves. So in machine learning, we basically enabling machine to process data in such a way that it can be used to make the future decision. This is nothing but your predictive analytics, projection, prediction, forecasting, whatever you are calling. Right. So if I see the difference between AI, machine learning, and deep learning, you see that in AI, any program that passes the Turing test. Okay. So if you can make the person feel like a human, but if the answer is coming from computer, like all the chatbot application, right? So basically, when you make a phone call to any university, basically you are interacting with a machine, but you feel like a human. Means you make the person full in believing that he is interacting with a person and not a computer. Means you have developed the intelligent program. Means you have passed the intelligent test, that is called Turing test. Fine. So it means that any machine which makes you believe it's human, okay, that is your AI. So here we have to mimic the human brain, and any program which passes the Turing test, then they are considered as a AI problem. Machine learning means learning with and from experience, right? So it's an experiential learning. You have to make machine capable to learn exactly like a human. So here we have to simulate the human brain inside the computer. And in deep learning, it's a self-learning from huge amount of data. So again, data requirement in deep learning is higher than machine learning. Here you require terabyte, petabyte, yottabyte amount of data. So in machine learning, deep learning, and AI, lots of data need to be passed, right? So in deep learning, highest, second is machine learning, third is AI. So in machine learning, neural networks can be used to simulate human-like decision making. All right. So the most important concept is your artificial neural network. This is nothing but the exactly how our human brain is functioning. And your machine learning is a subset of AI. It provides computers with the ability to learn without explicitly programming it. So in AI, basically we have to study how brain thinks, decide, and work to solve the problem. Right. And here we have to develop the software or system that imitate, that is means we have to copy, duplicate, emulate or replicate the human thinking behavior inside the computer. So in machine learning, we have to develop the system or software that exactly thinks like human, understands like a human, decides like a human, and solves the problem the way we do. And to achieve AI, machine has to learn, and that's why machine learning subject is there. So why machine learning? You see that you are aware that later on no human expertise will be needed. It is an automated process. This is a black box human expertise. Okay, so no one can understand how and why part. They can just see what goes in and what comes out. It can deal with rapidly changing phenomena. Whatever new future requirements will be there, it will be changed accordingly. And any kind of customization and personalization can also be achieved when you are dealing with machine learning. So this all are the reason why machine learning is useful. Okay, so if you need customization, personalization, yes, we can achieve rapidly changing phenomena. If you have to deal, yes, you can do it. So it's dynamic. Black box human expertise, right? The exactly like our human brain, what goes in and what comes out, yes. And if no human experts are available, there is a shortage, then you can develop a system which will exactly act like a human. So this is basically what we have studied. You can see that supervised learning. So it's classification. So here class labels are known. So you can see circle, star, and this plus sign. So these particular lines are separating circle from star and this plus. So this is your supervised learning. It is called classification. In unsupervised learning, you see labels are not there. So there is a here input and output both are there. Here only input. So here you can see that all objects are similar, but we have grouped them according to their similarity and dissimilarity. Okay, so here class labels are not known. Only input is there, output is not there. And we have grouped them according to similarity and dissimilarity. So this is your unsupervised learning. It is called clustering. The application of unsupervised learning is the clustering. And combination of both is a semi-supervised learning. So here we have some labeled data, some unlabeled data. So you can see that these diamonds, which are unlabeled data and remaining are labeled. So we have performed classification for labeled data and clustering for unlabeled data. Okay, so it's a classification and clustering both for semi-supervised learning. So this is what is my algorithm, supervised learning. So you can have any kind of input. Okay, you can have text data, document, image, sound, or structured data. So first you need to train your system, your model, your algorithm, your architecture. So first you have to train by supplying text, document, image, sound, whatever it is there. Along with that input, you have to also give the output. Class labels are known. So training is going to happen on both input and output. And from input, it will extract the feature and it will create the feature vector. Okay, so this will be supplied to machine learning algorithm, and machine learning algorithm will extract the features and it will learn from that. Now, when you supply any new text, document, image, sound, or your structured data, here also you have to extract the feature vector, and now you have to compare this feature vector with all the available feature vectors, and whatever it is matching, that will be the class label. So this predictive model will expect the label or predict the label based on the feature vector which is being matched with the specific class for which you have already trained. So in supervised learning, input and output both, your class labels are known, and training has to be given on both input and output, and your algorithm is going to learn from both. And then you have to supply only input without class label, it will predict the class label. Okay, so it will extract the feature and it will compare with all the available feature vector, and whatever it is near, it will be the class label of that specific object. So again, as we have discussed, there is a classification and prediction. Both are part of your supervised learning. The model for prediction is regression. Okay, so here you can see that there is a line equation, and I have to draw a line so that I can fit maximum number of points. Right, so this is my regression part. And in classification, you can see that there is a blue and red. So these are the class label. So I have to classify blue into blue and red into red. So suppose if I do linear classification, it's not possible because there are some misclassification. You can see there is a one blue in red and as well as one red in blue. So here I have to put some polynomial or curve so that you can have a blue to be classified under your blue class, as well as red is to be classified under the red class. So binary classification means what? Here logically we have to put the line or separate this line will separate one class object with the other. And multi-class classification, logically you have to put so many lines in such a way that the objects are classified into appropriate classes. So if your output variable has two distinct values, it's a binary classification. If your output variable has more than two distinct values, it's a multi-class classification. Then we have a linear and non-linear classification. So if you just separate the objects of two different class by just putting a line, then it's a linear classification. So here you have to find the straight line to separate the green from blue. But here it's not possible. So there is no way that straight line can be drawn to discriminate these two class. So basically you have to prepare the curve, and this is nothing but your non-linear classification. So here we have to work with polynomial. So these are the example of linear classifier like linear discriminant classifier, Neo-Bayesian, logistic regression, perceptron, support vector machine with linear kernel function. So these all are the example of linear classifier. And here the quadratic discriminant classifier, multi-layer perceptron, that is your neural network, and all your deep learnings or deep neural networks, decision tree, random forest, k nearest neighbor. Okay, so these all are the example of non-linear classification. So most of the real world data is non-linear in nature. So most applicable classifiers are this, like multi-layer perceptron, neural network, decision tree, random forest, KNN. These all are the non-linear classification. So for example, suppose I want to train my model so that it will classify apple into apple, tomato into tomato, and cow into cow. So I require three function, okay, function of apple, then it will classify the label is apple. So I am going to supply a lot of images to my model, okay, and along with input I am also supplying output, like if this kind of image is there, it is apple, if this is, then it's tomato, and if this is there, then it's cow. So here you have to apply the prediction function to a feature representation. Okay, so here there is a one feature representation of apple, one feature representation of tomato, and one feature representation of cow. So there will be three feature vector. Okay, so this you have to train along with the output. So your input and output both are required to be trained. So my classification framework is what? Y equal to fx, y is output. F is my f of x is my prediction function, and this nothing but I am here going to provide my input feature from which my algorithm or architecture is going to learn. So here along with input you have to also supply output. So here you have to give x1, y1, x2, y2. Sure. So we have to supply both input and output. Along with input, we have to also supply the output. So you can see x1, y1 up to xn, yn. We have to supply this training data. Okay, and this estimate, we have to estimate the prediction function by minimizing the prediction error. Okay, and then you have to perform the testing. You have to supply the x, and you have to see that whether the output is whether you can predict the class label apple, tomato, or cow as per the image or not. So this is how it will work, training and testing. So we have to always divide our data set into training set and testing set, and 2/3 of the record or 2/3 of the images should be supplied for training, that is 66%, and remaining 33% of the images should be supplied for testing. And we expect the accuracy under both the cases should be almost same. If there is a variance in accuracy between training set and testing set, then you can consider this as a overfitting. You can consider this overfitting has happened. So this should not happen. You have to ensure. Okay, and these all are the application of supervised learning. Pattern recognition, we have a face recognition, like you can have a pose, lighting, occlusion, makeup, hairstyle, right? So you are aware that based on your face, they will recommend like which kind of makeup will be suitable, which is a hairstyle. You are aware about all these applications. Character recognition, different handwriting styles. Then we have a speech recognition, okay, person recognition, mood recognition, medical diagnosis, right, from symptoms to illness, web advertisement, like the way you are getting the advertisement and it is popping up, and based on that it will recommend. There's nothing but a prediction. So when you are working with Facebook, when you are dealing with YouTube, these recommendations what you get in terms of advertisement or video is nothing but a one kind of prediction what they are making. So if you are going to click this and whether you are going to watch or not. Then we have unsupervised learning. So here you can see there is a clear-cut difference. Only input is required to be provided. No output is there. So labels are not there. So training is not going to happen on labels. So only input. You have to create a feature vector. This is my machine learning unsupervised algorithm. Now I am going to supply unseen document or object or whatever image. This feature vector is going to be created. So here you have to do coding to extract the feature in machine learning. In deep learning, feature extraction is also automated. So whatever we are doing here by writing a code manually, this is automated in deep learning. So in deep learning, feature vectors will not be there. It is feature extraction plus classification, both will be automated. This is what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning. So this feature vector you have to compare with this available feature vector, and whatever it is nearer, this model is going to predict the cluster ID or the cluster for that specific document or text or image or whatever. So these all are the applications, association rule mining, grouping of similar instance, that is called clustering without class label, summarization. Okay, so this all like customer segmentation according to their buying habit, image compression based on color quantization, and bioinformatics based on your learning motives, the way you are grouping. These all are the applications of unsupervised form of learning. Then we have a reinforcement learning. So here you can see that it's learning from environment by interacting with the environment. So there is an intelligent agent which always works in the background, which will take the action. These actions are reflected in the environment. And based on his action, either reward or penalty is being awarded, and based on that, it will change the state. So when you learn based on reward or penalty, when you learn based on interacting with the environment, when you learn based on the action what you take, and based on that the states in which you can move, then it is called reinforcement learning, right? So here your computer program is going to interact with dynamic environment. So this agent is nothing but your computer program. It is going to interact dynamically with the environment, and it must perform certain goal, right? And based on that, it will reward or it will be penalized. And the program is also provided the feedback in terms of rewards and punishment. Okay, the way you take the actions. So game playing, robotics, these all are the applications of like self-driving car, right? These all are the example of reinforcement learning. So try to see what machine learning is very hard. What we see is this image, but for computer, it's like you see what your ML algorithm sees. So it has to be converted into internal representation, okay, machine form. So what we see and what machine will see is totally altogether different, and that's why it is very hard. A lot of mathematics is always to be converted into vectors, okay, because computer does not understand what is image, so you have to convert that into mathematics. So it's all about whole maths. So there are 4 types of learning: supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. Okay, and these all are the learning methods. Like in supervised learning, we have to supply both input and output, X and Y, and prediction and classification and regression are the example of supervised learning. In unsupervised learning, there is no output, only input. So you can see only X. Clustering, your dimensionality reduction, association rule mining, and probability distribution estimation, they are the example of unsupervised learning. Semi-supervised is a combination of both, and reinforcement learning, here you have to make the decision by interacting with the environment dynamically. Robot and any kind of game playing are the examples of reinforcement learning. So this is again, you can clear cut understand what is the difference between supervised and unsupervised. Supervised you can achieve with classification algorithm. Unsupervised you can achieve with the clustering algorithm, right? So here you can see along with the input image, I am also supplying labels. So my system is getting trained on both input and output. And based on that, you can see there is a output. And now next I'll be supplying only image without label, and it will predict the class label. While here in unsupervised, you see I'm just supplying all the images without label. Okay, and based on similarity and dissimilarity, it will be grouped without having label. And when you supply unseen object, it will see the similarity, whatever it is matching based on this group, and based on that, it will be grouped based on the feature which you extract and based on the similarity what you can find. So please see the difference here. You have to train your system with both input and output. Okay, label is known. Here labels are not known. So here when you supply unseen object, label will be predicted. When you supply here unseen object, it will be grouped based on the clusters, based on the similarity. Right, and this is what is my overall machine learning types. So supervised learning, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. So here we have a continuous target variable, right? You are aware that either the output is continuous or categorical. If it is continuous or numerical, you have to apply regression. For example, house price prediction. But if your output variable is categorical, then you can go for classification like medical imaging, whether the person is suffering from tumor or not. In unsupervised learning, okay, target variables are not available. So either you can do clustering, so like customer segmentation based on their hobbies, buying habit, based on their income, whatever. And association here, market basket analysis, like which items are frequently being purchased together. In semi-supervised learning, categorical target variables are there. Okay, so those variables which are available for which means the class label is known, you can apply classification, and here the class labels are not known, you can apply the clustering. In reinforcement learning, categorical target variable is available, then it is exactly like classification. But if the target variables are not available, then it's a control kind of application like driverless car or self-driving car. So this is what is your subject, right? This is what, if you know, this is what we have to deal with this subject. So here are the example for classification, your email classification, whether it is going into inbox or spam or not spam and spam. Okay. This is classification. House price prediction is example of regression, and clustering. You can see that we group the object based on similarity and dissimilarity. So these are the steps in machine learning. You have to define your objectives, acquire and explore the data. So you have to pre-process the data. You have to make it quality before it is being sent to the model. Then you have to choose the model based on your task, supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, or reinforcement. Then you have to generate the result, interpret and communicate, and then you have to document and maintain. Okay, so we'll continue with this in next lecture regarding deep learning. Okay, so any question, anyone? And I hope I have made it clear about the whole subject once more. Any question, anyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Did you get it properly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we'll continue with this. So by this time, my recommendation to all of you is please enroll for one good course from Coursera or NPTEL Swayam or edX, and start watching small YouTube videos. Configure Orange Canvas, Weka, Tenegra, Cipina Research, SPSS, K9, all these various tools what we have discussed, Power BI, Tableau, okay, and start exploring this in detail. So we'll continue with this and hoping to see all of you in class very soon. So I missed my class today. I don't like to teach online. I don't know what is your reaction. I cannot see. So that's why. But anyhow, we expect that after Uttarayan, things will be normal and again we'll be meeting in class. Right. So by this time, enjoy, take care and see you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.